How we doing, everybody? This is NOS, your podcast for nostalgia. I'm your host, Bon Lee Johnson. This is my co-host,
Bonzobitburg.
Welcome all. We're going to talk tonight about breakfast cereal. I know that sounds like it might be kind of plain Jane, but we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to do a little history on the breakfast cereal first, and then we're going to get into some personal stories and some anecdotes and things like that. Have a little bit of fun with it. So supposedly in 1863, some dude named James Caleb Jackson, he's a religious conservative vegetarian. He also ran some kind of a sanitarium, which, back in those days, that was big money, getting rid of all the crazy people on the streets because they had nowhere else to go. So they would house them in these places like that. But that's one of the things he did. But he created a breakfast cereal. He made it from grams, like graham cracker, that kind of graham flour dough. And he dried it and broke it up into little shapes, and he soaked them in milk overnight, and he called it granula. Then this guy named John Harvey Kellogg came along. He was a surgeon. He also ran a health spa. And you're talking the 1860s, so he basically worked with a saw, and that was probably about all the medical tools he had, a saw and a hammer. But anyhow, he ran his health spa in Michigan, and he renamed it and took the same kind of concept that he had, and he named it granola. That's where the term granola comes from. So Kellogg's started granola, but he had a patient. His patient's name was C.W. Post. I'm sure you cereal buffs know the names Kellogg's and Post. But anyhow, he created a cereal called Grape Nuts, which is right around the same time, right around the early 1900s. And if you guys have ever had Grape Nuts,
I still eat them.
Do you?
Yep.
So you can use like 6 gallons of milk for one bowl of cereal, and it'll swell up into like a bale of hay, basically, is what it turns into. But I remember the first time I did it, I had Grape Nuts. I saw the cereal commercial, I was like, fuck, those look good, man. They always had like
and you hear grape, and you're like,
right,
ooh, grape
right.
cereal.
When you're a kid, grape cereal. That's what I thought too. So I bugged my mom, and she finally bought Grape Nuts. And I think my stepdad liked it, so that's why she actually did it, not because of me. But so I remember I poured a bowl, and I poured a normal-sized bowl that I always poured, like when I did, Captain Crunch or whatever. I'd fill the bowl 3/4 full, then a little bit of milk, good to go. So I put a little bit of milk in it, and I'm like stirring it up. It's like, fuck, what is going on here? There's nothing. So I put a little bit more milk on it and stirred it up again, and nothing. Like, it's not floating. So I'm just pouring and pouring and pouring, and finally, it's fucking like swelling up out of the bowl, and I'm like, holy shit. And I ate it anyway. I put a bunch of sugar on it, and I ate it. And it really wasn't that bad.
The boxes were small, but
yeah.
It's because it filled you up. Yeah. It swelled up in your stomach, and then you're like so full. You think of getting a regular-sized bowl, but you can't do it.
No, you have to use like one of them little monkey-sized bowls, and then, hope for the best. Because that shit... It tore you up. But it was good. I haven't eaten Grape Nuts in,
I haven't eaten them in a while, but I still get them every once in a while. I have to put sugar on mine, though.
My girlfriend just bought one of those, the new variety packs. It's the new version of those old ones they used to have, in the clear. They had all the boxes. Mm-hmm. But there's like 2 bites in a box now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I have to eat 2 of those little boxes and a half a bowl of cereal.
You don't even want to know my cereal gig. My wife yells at me all the time. I got this big Tupperware bowl. I eat like a half a box. I'm a big cereal buff dude. I love cereal. I still eat it like a kid.
It's almost perfect. It's a great snack. You can eat it as a meal. It's not terribly unhealthy. I mean, I know like sugar pop, corn pops, or whatever. They had to change the name to corn pops.
Yeah, sometimes my wife will be like, "What do you want for dinner?" I'm like, "I'm just going to eat cereal tonight."
I've done it. I did it for dinner the other night. I had frosted mini wheats out of that variety pack. That's the good thing about her and I is the cereals I don't like, she likes.
Oh, that's good.
I don't like Frosted Flakes at all. When I was a kid, they were kind of okay because the old Tony the Tiger thing,
Yeah.
Commercials sold me. I bit that shit hook, line, and sinker. But yeah, I don't really care for them. But she loves Frosted Flakes and Rice Krispies. And I'm like, I don't eat either of them.
I used to eat like all the sweet cereals. I loved the sweet cereals, but now I'm starting to eat, a little bit. I guess if you want to call it healthier.
Yeah, I
Raisin
tried.
Bran and stuff like that.
I've loved Raisin Bran since I was a kid. But
Yeah, I did like it, but that's what I eat. That's one of my go-tos. And
in the early 2000s, I switched to that Go Lean Crunch, that whatever that Kashi brand
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Fucking disgusting. It's not even cereal. It's
I
just
eat like
granola.
Special K, but it's like I love their blueberry Special K.
Strawberry one's not bad.
It's good too. I eat a lot of different of the fruit versions of the Special K.
They seem like just like miniature cornflakes.
Yeah,
Okay, but they may be wheat. I don't know. They may be more wheat
I'm not
centric
sure what
than
they are,
corn.
but yeah.
I like cornflakes.
I'll
Cornflakes are good as long as they
yeah.
have a banana in it or something. I can cut
Yeah.
up in them.
I still
I
eat.
think they're good.
I still
So-
eat all that.
Yeah, oh man, I do it all the time. So back to this history a little bit here. Kellogg's younger brother, Will Keith Kellogg, figured out how to make speaking of this cereal, a flaky cereal out of corn. He called them cornflakes. That kind of leads right into this. And he added sugar and began mass marketing and producing that stuff. And they were Post Toasties. Do you remember those?
I do.
Yeah, those were the cornflakes before Kellogg's cornflakes. Even though that was, same family, they just, he used that name.
And I think one of the generic brands after cornflakes changed their name. I think one of like the off brands still called them Toasties, but I'm not 100% sure.
Post. It was Post.
Was
Post had
it?
Post Toasties, yeah. There's a Post Toasties joke. Have you ever heard it?
Nope.
This guy marries this woman. He has a couple of kids from a previous marriage, 2 boys, and they sit down at the breakfast table. And she's like, asks the first one, "What do you want for breakfast?" He said, "I want some Post Toasties, bitch." She turns over, whack, slaps the shit out of him. Fucking turns to the second kid, "What do you want for breakfast?" He said, "I want some Post Toasties, bitch." She turns over, whack, slaps the shit out of him. She looks to the husband. She said, "What do you want for breakfast?" "I don't know, but you can bet your sweet ass I want them fucking Post Toasties, bitch." Anyhow, yeah, that's my Post Toasties joke. So Quaker Rice came out around the 1910s. Now that was kind of like, do you remember Sugar Smacks? Now they're like, didn't they change the name to just Smacks or something now?
They got away from the sugar name.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they call it now.
Dig 'em though. It was the Dig 'em cereal.
Yeah,
That's what
that was one of my big cereals. My go-to.
When I was a kid, yeah.
Well, even early, just recently. But now that I'm starting to eat a little healthier, I
Right.
don't eat them anymore. But yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Do you remember the Popeye cereal? The ones in the bag?
I don't.
It was a generic off-brand, but they had a puffed wheat one, but it was unsweetened.
Ugh.
And I didn't
My
know it.
grandpa used to eat those.
But that's what this is. This Quaker Rice cereal that came out in the early 1910s, the puffed wheats.
I couldn't eat
Puffed
them.
rice. That's what those are. But yeah, I remember I poured a bowl of them once, and I was like, took a big bite, and like, what the? So then, I went and got cereal or some sugar and took care of that. And our famous Wheaties came out around the 1920s. That was when they started using wheat flakes instead of corn flakes, and they coined their term, their slogan, "Breakfast of Champions." Well, we know what happens when you eat too much of that. You win the Olympics, and then eventually you have to wear a dress, but that's another story for another show. So around the early 70s, early to mid-70s, it looks like, I'm not 100% sure, it's not a real good date on it. That's when the Monster cereals came out.
That was my
General
favorite.
Mills was getting big at that point. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into the Monster cereals here in a little bit. And then the 80s, which is our wheelhouse, 70s was our wheelhouse too, but that's when they started getting the theme cereals, like the Smurf cereals and the, Scooby-Doo's, and everybody, like Muhammad Ali had a cereal, I think. There was just a ton of that stuff.
When the Star Wars came out.
Oh,
the
yeah.
C-3PO cereal.
They did, the C-3POs. I remember those, and I ate them, and they were not really that great, but they were still, C-3POs.
Yep, the kids just flocked over all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I know better than the rest
That's
of them.
one of my stories I was going to get into, but
Nope, it's time now. Dive into her. That's basically the history. The cereal got healthier
I
in the
used
2000s.
to live
but
with my grandparents. I lived with my mom and dad, but on the weekends, I loved spending time up at my grandparents, and over the summer break, I would spend all my time up there because they had a lot of things to do up there. It was a small village. There's a lot of kids there. We played like hide and
This is the
seek
Corral you were telling
yeah,
us about?
Yeah, Corral. And they had a swimming pool, an in-ground swimming pool, and they had woods that we could go up and play in the woods if we wanted to. But my grandpa always shopped on the weekends. He would do the grocery shopping because he was a penny pincher, you know.
Is this the grandpa I knew? Or?
Yeah, the grandpa I'm named after.
Okay. No, I didn't know him.
Oh, you didn't know him?
Kelly was the one I knew.
Oh, no. Yeah, my grandpa, they called him Connie. But I used to love to go shopping with him because I looked forward to the cereal section,
Right.
and he would always buy me a box of cereal, whatever one I wanted. So it was always a big treat for me to go shopping with him. But yeah, that was my introduction to like picking out the sweet, sugary cereal as a kid.
What was your first memory of cereal?
Oh, I don't even
that
know.
you can recall?
I remember seeing the Monster cereal on commercials. I mean, I was a big monster movie buff. I liked all the Universal monsters and Godzilla and all that stuff.
Because that's exactly mine too.
So I remember seeing the Monster commercial with the Frankenberry and Count Chocula, and I was like, oh my God, I got it. And I was a big, fruity type guy.
Right.
So I seen the Frankenberry and Blueberry. I had to have those, man.
Yeah, Frankenberry was my first. That was my first Monster cereal.
This was a thing of mine. I would go in and I'd start eating the actual cereal, and I'd leave all the marshmallows. I'd pick around and leave them for last because they were my favorite part of the.
Right.
So I would pick around and eat all the regular cereal, and then at the end I would eat all my marshmallows. It was the greatest.
What I would do, it was drilled into us. We were poor people, so we had to save your milk if you wanted a second bowl. I mean, you always wanted a fucking second bowl.
Right.
So you'd save your milk, and that was like the selling point for Frankenberry because it was strawberry milk. And I'd never had, at that point, I'd never had strawberry milk.
Yeah.
So I ate my cereal, and at the end, I saved my milk, and I was like, holy shit. So I took a little drink. I was like, man. So then I couldn't save my milk. I never got my second bowl.
Never got a second bowl.
So I had to discipline myself later. And I remember this one time, I couldn't have been 5 years old.
See, I do that now. I'll eat cereal and I'll leave the milk, and I'm like, well, if I don't drink my milk, I can have a little more cereal.
That's like leaving the bread out when you're making a sandwich.
Right,
You know there's a second sandwich coming. Just fucking make two. But yeah, I remember I was going through the house. It was dark. It was night. I remember it was night. I remember it was dark. I don't remember what year it was or what season it was, but I remember I just had my Frankenberries, like sometime within a very short period of time before this. And I'm walking by the sink, and I look up, and there's this glass of strawberry milk sitting on the sink. And we had 8 kids in the family at the time, with my step-siblings and others, so there was fucking shit everywhere, right? So
it was like jailhouse then, huh?
It
You
was.
Guarded everything.
Yeah, so if somebody left some shit laying
And then
out,
you have to eat it fast.
It was free range. Like, if it was left out, that too bad. You fucked up. So I look around, no one's watching me. I grab that milk, and I tip it back. And, I tipped it back hard, and it was fucking pink dishwashing liquid. I don't know if the bottle had leaked or what it was, but they'd poured it into this cup, or if they probably borrowed it from a neighbor. Is probably what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I took it. It was that cured me for a long time. I smelled everything before I put it in my mouth after that because it was fucking nuts. That was terrible.
My uncle, he was just a few years older than me. He played a prank on me one time, and it was kind of like that. He said, "Go brush your teeth," and I got the toothpaste out there. Here it was that, I don't know, it was called Perel or something.
Yeah,
it was like a
Purell. Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It looked like a toothpaste thing, but it was soap or something. I put it on my toothbrush, started brushing. I was like, "Oh my God!"
At least
I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth.
At least they were clean.
Oh, it was bad.
But back in those days, like as you got a little bit older, now I was really young when that pink milk thing happened, but like 9, 10 years old around that, the cereal box was like the newspaper for kids.
Oh, yeah.
You sat there at the table with your you get out of bed, you're like, and you would gawk at that thing for, half hour, 45 minutes. And there would be games and puzzles and news and shit.
And the toys always sold you the
Right.
little prizes inside.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
what.
remember Honeycombs was one of my big cereals. So I ate a lot of Honeycombs. And they had this giveaway this one whole summer. It was like 1980, I think, or 81. But they were giving away all these games and prizes and stuff. And I won this thing called a treasure chest. So I was like, I was so stoked. I sent in for it. And it took weeks, of course, back then to come
Right.
back. And it was just this shitty little cardboard chest that you had to put together. It was fucking terrible. It was just basically made of paper. And the gold coins that went in it were just paper discs. I was like so fucking let down. I had to be like Ralphie on Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Just to eat more oatmeal or whatever the hell song was.
Ovaltine.
Ovaltine.
Drink more
Drink
Ovaltine.
more Ovaltine. That was the same fucking thing. But and that spawned the missing children on milk cartons thing.
Yeah.
The fact that they knew that those cereal boxes held us so captive that they started putting missing children. And there was one famous case. I think it's the only one that they solved because of the milk carton. One kid actually got returned out of all the thousands and thousands of kids that were on those milk cartons. Like, I can't remember the kid's name, but yeah.
Wasn't the guy that did, what was that? Not Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh,
the
you're
other
talking
one.
about John Walsh. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he
wasn't
had
his
something to
son on the milk
do- No,
carton? No?
no, they found him pretty quick.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, he was. The big mystery of that was the who done it. He was pretty sure he knew who did that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was brutal. We won't get into that one, but yeah, they the cereal thing. They would besides the games and the prizes and all that, they would have like fun facts about whatever you were into.
Right.
Whatever the theme of the cereal was. Like the Star Wars one had Star Wars stuff on it, and I don't know. That just really rocked my world back then. I loved reading that shit, and it was it was cool.
There were some pretty cool prizes in some of them. Like, baseball cards back in the day, you could get like real baseball cards and some of that stuff's worth a lot of money now.
Oh, I bet, because
the baseball
none of it
cards.
survives.
Yeah.
I remember out of Captain Crunch, I got a submarine, and you put baking soda
Oh, yeah, I
in,
remember
and it
those.
would do this. It would
Yep,
just
that
dive.
was great. I used to play with
that one.
those,
Was
yeah.
probably one of the top 2 or 3 prizes that came in cereal that actually worked, did what it said it did.
I remember Trix, I think it was Trix, had some kind of contest, and you got a little thing, prize thing in the box, and you opened it up, and it tells you if you won or not, or you had to find like so many to find. There was like a map on the card that was inside, and you had to collect so many of them to get, and there was always one missing.
The
or whatever.
precursor to the McDonald's Monopoly.
Yeah,
game.
exactly. It was like that. But I got one. I opened it up, and it showed the actual path. So I think it was like a grand prize winner.
Right.
But I didn't think anything of it. And then I went home. It was at my uncle's. I went home, and I'm like, I think that was a winner. So I went back to my uncle's. I'm like, where's that prize at? And my aunt's like, I threw it away. So I'm like digging through the trash, and I can't find it. And I was so disappointed because I think it was a winner for something big too, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember the big prizes. There were some that were, they seemed significant. I don't remember exactly anyone. That submarine was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the toys. I just remember they were little cheapy things.
Yeah, usually like they'd have, Honeycomb was cool because they gave you could send in for your name if you won your license plate.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
They'd do states on some of them, but you could get your name if you won,
See,
or
that's a
saved up
bad
so
thing.
many. I don't remember if it was a winner. If you saved up so many box tops, you got it.
That was a bad thing with my name. There was never a license plate with my name on it.
I had a ton of them. Of
Yeah.
course, they were.
I was always disappointed.
So
Every
what-
time we'd go on vacation or something, how you get them little name tags
Yeah.
or keychains or something with your name. None, I never could find my name on.
You would have to get Connie and then
Yeah, exactly.
scratch it out and do it yourself. But what's your top 3 childhood cereals?
All the monster cereals, I would say, was my favorite.
We'll lump those together. We'll call
That's
monster
one.
cereals one.
Okay.
Because I agree, too. I would have a hard time separating those.
Man, that's
Count
a tough
Chocula,
one.
Blueberry, and they're all...
I mean, I was a big fan of the Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles.
Didn't like either of them.
Didn't?
Nope, still don't. Cocoa Pebbles are okay, but...
I love those.
It's a texture issue with those for some reason.
See, I'm a freak, man. My wife thinks I'm gross, but I put cereal in a bowl and I like it to get soggy.
Yeah, that is gross.
That's what everybody.
You eat milk over your cake too.
Yeah, I was taught that though. But yeah,
so that's probably where that comes from.
Yeah,
that's
from my grandmother. She would always. I don't know who started it or whatever, but my family on Sundays we'd get together and have meals, and she would always make cake. And then everybody'd put the cake in a bowl and pour milk over it and eat it. And I was like, that sounds good to me.
But in their defense, that's how I like my ice cream, over my cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets soggy that way, but it's cold, so it's different. It like adds texture to the ice cream. So I've never tried milk over top of my cake,
but
so
we
I can't
used to
really
eat
shit
some
on
pretty. I mean, it tasted good to me back then, but we used to eat some pretty nasty stuff if you think about it. It was like. I don't know if it's because, they came up in the Depression, so they made different things, but they had like, she would make toast, butter it, cut it in squares, put it in a bowl, and then dump hot milk and sugar over it and eat it that way. Or then there was another one where she'd take saltines, break them up, put them in a bowl, put sugar on them, and pour coffee and milk over them. Ooh. And it's all soggy. I mean, everything's soggy. So I was used
that
to
definitely
eating
sounds like Depression era food.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm getting depressed just thinking about it.
But yeah, that was all good to me when I was a kid. I grew up around all that sogginess.
Like the welfare rice, we would eat that with sugar and milk.
Did you?
Yeah. Like
Well, that's kind of rice pudding type thing.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I never liked rice pudding, so.
I do. I like tapioca and rice pudding.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah, I dig those.
See, I guess it was what you grew up eating.
It is, yeah. Like I had my step grandmother. She couldn't make anything but fried chicken and biscuits. Her fried chicken and her biscuits were so fucking good. Like I have never come close to anything come close to what she made.
Yeah.
But when she would make me and Jeff spaghetti. The fucking noodles were like rolling a clove. Grandma, it's good because you couldn't hurt her feet.
Right. See, now that's what my grandma was good at, was making spaghetti.
Yeah. That's how my mom could cook pretty much anything.
Yeah.
She didn't spice things that much, but, it was still pretty good. It was still pretty good. So we got Monster cereals, and what else did you say?
The Pebbles.
Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles. I would say that was one cereal. Man, I can't think of, I know. The Captain Crunch brands. Yeah.
All of it.
The Crunch Berries, the peanut butter. Oh, yeah.
The only fucking knock I have on Captain Crunch is
it
destroys your mouth.
Yeah.
Fuck
well,
yeah.
see, I'm a soggy guy, so I let mine sit and
you had
get
to let
soggy.
that shit sit a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Because Captain Crunch very rarely went
Well,
soggy.
I still do it. I'll get a bowl of cereal and I'll pour my milk on it, and I'll let it sit for 10 minutes before I even touch it.
I couldn't do it. Like, he came over tonight to eat pizza, and I was like, I already ate. I couldn't wait 5 minutes. That shit's sitting in front of me. It's gone.
So, I mean, that's the way I eat it. I don't know. I just like the soggy shit.
I don't get it, but to each their own.
Neither does my wife. She thinks it's the grossest thing in the world.
Yeah. She's put up with you for a long time, so she has a right to think that. So I'm going to go with Monster cereals as my top also. I still like them. Every Halloween.
See, now I'll eat them, but they just don't taste as good for some reason.
They're not as good.
Yeah,
they took a bunch of sugar out.
Yeah,
they used to pack that
it.
shit. Yeah, they used to pack it with sugar.
Because I didn't have it for the longest time. I ate it as a kid, and then once
is it even available year round now?
I think so.
Because it seems like Walmart only pushes it around Halloween.
No, I think you can still get it. I don't know though. I haven't bought it because once I got married, I was like, I'm going to eat some of that cereal again because I haven't had it in forever.
Am I misremembering? Was there a fourth?
Yeah, there was the
mummies or something like that.
No, it was a werewolf. It was fruit. I forget what it was called. Fruit something.
Yes,
Fruit Brute.
Fruit Brute.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
And it was kind of like it was the same style cereal, but it tasted more like Trix, I think.
Yeah.
It had like all the different fruits mixed in with it.
Ah.
But
I
I
vaguely
didn't
remember.
care. I didn't care for that cereal, and it wasn't a popular one between all the
No, it never
monsters.
lasted. So.
No.
I think Blueberry was an add-on too. I think it was just the first two, and then I
It
think
could have been,
I think
but
it
I-
came
that
out
was
later.
one
I'd
of
have
my
to. I didn't do
That
enough
was my
research on
second
that, but
favorite. Was the
yeah.
blueberry.
It was Frankenberry for me, then
Yeah.
Count Chocula, then Blueberry. But they were, I mean, I was never going to complain about any of them.
Right.
If I got any one of them, I was pretty happy about that.
But yeah, I was just talking that I got it after I got married. I went and bought me a Frankenberry. I don't know if it was Frankenberry or Blueberry, but I got it and started eating it, and I was totally disappointed because
Yeah.
it didn't taste like I remembered it tasted.
Right.
So I don't think I bought it since.
That's like fruit striped gum.
Yeah, that was good when you were a kid, but
Yeah,
now it's
now-
nasty.
It's nasty. I'm like, the first bite is like, mmm. Then like 2 seconds later, it tastes like just rubber.
Yep.
Tastes like you're eating a rubber plant. So I'm going to go with Monster cereals for my top. I'm going to go with honeycombs for number 2.
I used to eat a lot of that, but
Loved honeycombs. I still eat them, but they're, again,
Crunchberry,
same
man.
thing. They're not as good.
Crunchberry, I'd have to call that my second.
Captain Crunch would be my top 3. Yeah, all the flavors. I'm going to lump them all together
Yeah,
like we did
for
the other
sure.
ones. Peanut butter is probably...
My peanut butter, I always let that shit sit and get soft, and man, I eat the shit out of that stuff.
I went through a phase as an adult where Golden Grams was my favorite. And I still like them, but the problem with those is when I get them, we always make those Golden Graham treats like the Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah,
And, being diabetic, that's not good.
right.
And I never, ever got into hot cereal. Like that rice was okay, and
See,
cocoa
now-
wheats were okay.
I like cocoa wheats. I used to eat hot cereal because I think my grandma and grandpa,
Right.
that since
I mean, I
the
like oatmeal.
Depression.
I just don't go out of my way to eat it.
Right. No, I don't eat it that much anymore. Like in the wintertime, I'll get some of that instant oatmeal, like the fruit
The
flavored.
packets,
Yeah,
yeah.
the packets.
Those aren't bad.
Strawberry and cream and stuff
Right.
like that.
That's my go-to. I like the bananas too.
Yeah.
The
So
banana cream or whatever
I
it is.
usually eat that in the wintertime. If it's cold out for breakfast, I'll eat
Right.
box or a box of that. Yeah, I eat a whole box.
Yeah.
No. I eat
Well, it's 2 packs at a time.
Yeah.
1 pack is not enough.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just not enough.
No.
I don't give it. Call me a fatty, whatever you
No,
want.
I get
There's
that's what I
just-
eat.
there's
It's 2
just not
packs
enough.
of it.
So we snacks. That's cereal. Cereal is my favorite snack. When I don't know what I want and nothing else will do, if there's a box of cereal laying around, she eats those cinnamon toast crunch. They're so fucking gross. I
Yeah.
can't stand. But I'll still eat them.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't
for
like them, but I'll eat them just because that's what's laying around. But cereal's like the perfect snack,
What,
especially at night.
now, what kid cereal did you not like?
A kid cereal that I didn't like. I'm going to go
I
with.
got my top one anyhow.
Let's see here. What's yours? Let me think on it for a minute.
Lucky Charms. I could not
Oh,
eat
I like
Lucky
Lucky
Charms.
Charms. But I tell you what I don't like is I don't like chocolate Lucky Charms.
I never had the chocolate.
Yeah, they're not good. I didn't like those at all. But that's
for
they weren't
kids
around when I
cereal.
was a kid.
And the other thing I didn't like, but I didn't really consider it as a kid cereal. I mean, they pushed it as a kid cereal, but Trix. I didn't like Trix.
Yeah, that was definitely a kid cereal.
It was a
Definitely
kid.
cereal.
Was it not Trix? What was it? Kix.
Kix. I liked Kix because I like cornflakes. I like corn checks too. I was.
But it wasn't. It wasn't sweet. It was like
No, it wasn't.
And I was like,
You had to put a
ugh.
little sugar on it. But I liked Apple Jacks. They were okay. They weren't my favorite, but they were
Yeah,
still good.
Apple Jacks were all right.
I'm gonna have to go with Fruity Pebbles. I think
Fruit-
that was the one kid cereal
See-
that I just didn't like at all.
See,
And it's just a tech. I think they're rice flakes or something.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah. It's
you're just
kind of
not-
like I think they use the same thing as like Rice Krispies.
Yeah, and they just flatten them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if my brother's going to hear this podcast. I'm not going to mention his name, Mike. we were at the breakfast table, and
I can't wait to hear this.
we're eating Rice Krispies. You know how like some of them are darker, right?
Yeah.
They're a little crunchier, and they're just not quite as good. But
Right.
whatever. Rice Krispies was all we had at the time, that day. So we're fucking munching away, like, you know, eating all this shit, and then next thing I know, Mike's like, he's like spitting this. I'm eating them too, so I'm not off the hook. I'm like, I just froze. I'm like, what's going on? Because my brother's 4 years older than me. He was basically my hero at the time. So everything like he did, I like had to copy. So I think in my brain, he couldn't, you know, he knew everything. You know how older brothers, you look at them like that. So if I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He picks the box up, and here a mouse had eaten a hole in the backside of the box. I got up in there and shit all through the cereal, and it wasn't dark Rice Krispies.
Oh no!
I don't know if he saw the hole. You'd have to ask him exactly what triggered it, the fact, or if he picked one.
Man,
up
you're
and
lucky you didn't get
I know.
sick from that.
Well, I mean, you know, being the feral kids that we were, we probably had way worse than that.
That's true.
But it was this little store that we got all this stuff from. It was like your Biederman's.
Right.
It was Henthorn's.
Biederman and what was Nellie's was the other little store right there beside it.
And they had problems like that all the time. We got a box of Raisin Bran, and I was eating the Raisin Bran. Same store, probably the same year, because we only lived in Dudley for 2 years, so it could have been very far apart. And I'm like, man, I'm chewing on the raisins. I love raisins, man. I fucking love raisins. I look down, I see a fucking ant going across the top of my bowl. I'm like, flick it off. I'm like, what the fuck? Keep eating, take another bite.
They're swimming in your fucking mouth.
The whole box was polluted with them. I poured it out, and they were just everywhere. I mean, ants don't hurt you, but it was still fucking gross. It was still fucking gross. You ain't got no gross cereals? Or cereal stories?
Cereal? No, not really. I don't think so. I remember one time I was eating. It's not a cereal, but it was like a snack cake or something. I don't remember. I think it was an apple. My grandma had it. It was like a Hostess something. It had an apple flavor.
Like a turnover type thing?
No, it wasn't even that. It was like it was like a cupcake, but it tasted like it had like crumbly on top of it.
I know what you're talking about.
And I bit into it, and I was eating it, and I looked down, and there's some kind of worm crawling out of it. And I was like, I started gagging, spitting it out, and it was bad. I don't know.
It was bad.
I don't know if it was old and it was just sitting there.
I mean, apples and worms, they kind of go hand in hand, so it could have just been part of the process.
Yeah. But it was alive. It was crawled out.
He was a tough fucking worm.
But, that was one of my gross stories.
He was a tough fucking worm. So if you had to go back and lose one cereal from your childhood out of all your favorites that you picked, so it has to be either Captain Crunch, Monster cereals, or Fruity Pebbles.
Well, if it's now, my Monster cereals would have to go because I don't think they taste as good as they did back in the day.
But you're erasing them from history. So you don't get to enjoy them then either.
Oh no, I can't do that to the Monster cereal. I'd have to say the Fruity Pebbles then.
Yeah, I'd have to say you're right. Get rid of those fucking nasty things. Yeah. They were gross.
Because Captain Crunch I used to eat.
I couldn't get rid of either of those. It would have to be the honeycombs. Yeah. And that would break my heart, but I couldn't have lived without the other two. They were just too good. Am I remembering, was there a Godzilla cereal?
I think there might have been. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
I don't remember what it was either.
I mean, there was every cereal back when the characters and the movies. And
there was a huge movement in the 80s with that Scooby-Doo cereals and C-3POs and all that shit. But Saturday mornings, it was religion, right?
Yeah,
you get your bowl of cereal, you belly up to the fucking TV, you turn it on, hours and hours of cartoons while you lay there and eat your cereal and, watch cartoons. That was religion.
Right up at my grandma's, I can remember laying on the floor on my belly with my cereal in front of me, looking up at the TV.
But
me neither.
My neck would have to be fucking put back in place.
But you had that giant, big
console,
man, blam right there.
They were a piece of furniture back then. It wasn't, the whole living room was based around that television.
Yep.
But I mean, that was the only time. Saturday mornings were the only time I didn't sit and read the box. Because cartoons were on. So I'd go watch cartoons, just like you said, flop down on your belly, put the bowl in front of you, eat your cereal, watch your cartoons. Good times.
Oh, great times.
Yeah. And speaking of that, there was a Godzilla cartoon on the early 80s. It wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
But I loved it because I loved Godzilla stuff. They renamed that Godzilla's son Godzuki.
Yeah.
Just for the cartoon. 'Cause that wasn't his name in the...
What was his name?
I can't remember. Like Gadeshi or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'd have to look it up. When we do that episode, I'll get that. Because we have to do that.
I remember watching all of them, but man, I can't remember all the names of everything, and it's been so long. And I try to watch them.
Monsters.
I've tried to watch them again, but man, they're just not as good as what I remember them being.
Oh no, they're fucking awful.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about it. I still love them. I have them all on my DVR. Everyone I could get my hands on. But Gamera, we can't. We're not going to go into that now. That's another show. We don't want to waste that on.
But I was telling you a story about me going shopping with my list. I got another funny story. Going shopping with my grandpa on Saturday for cereal, and I always loved going. And one day, my uncle and his buddies decided to go too. And usually it was just me and grandpa.
Is this one of the uncles I know? Or?
Yeah. Mark.
Okay.
But him and his I think there was two of his buddies or something, and I don't remember if the grocery stores still have them or not. I don't remember. But back when I was a kid, they had an aisle that had toys and stuff in it. A little aisle.
Grocery, yeah.
Yeah, the grocery
store. A lot of the older grocery stores do.
So that was one thing I always liked to do too, is go look at the toys in the grocery store right before I went and picked out my cereal. But I remember my uncle took me over there, and he's like, "Turn around." I'm like, "What?" They've spun me around. These kids are like 3 or 4 years older than me. I'm like 8 or whatever. They're like, "Turn around, don't say anything." They spun me around, and they started jamming these toy guns down in my pants. Just jamming a bunch of them. There were these boxes of miniature guns and stuff that shot these little plastic bullets. They were spring-loaded.
Yeah, I remember the gun, yeah.
But there was variety packs, and they had different guns, and there was probably 10 guns in a pack or whatever, and they just kept jamming these things. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, shut up. And they're jamming all these things in my pants, and then they're like, go to the van. I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. And they made me shoplift all these toys. And then when we got back to the house, they got them out. They took them out of my pants, and then they took them down in the basement, and they wouldn't let me play with them toys. They kept them from me. They played with them. I was so mad. I should have said something to my grandpa, but I never did.
Yeah. No, you don't want to do that, because then you become the snitch.
Yeah. But
I thought he was older than that. But
I guess he's only maybe 4 years older than me.
So he's like the difference between me and my brother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was like my hero back then.
Yeah, I don't think Mike ever made me shoplift. I don't remember. No, he never did.
Yeah, I don't know why he was my hero, because he never let me go with him.
Well, that's why.
The big brothers.
Yeah, it's the same shit.
No, you're not going. We're going. But I'll tell you another funny story real quick. I ain't gonna say any names, but. There was this tree house one of the neighbor kids had. It was my grandma, they had their house, and then right behind their house was the pool, and then behind the pool was a small orchard that they had there. It was like I don't know, it was probably maybe 1.5 acres, maybe 2 acres. And then up on the corner of that property, this neighbor boy, his dad built him a tree house up there. It was the coolest thing ever. It was this giant tree, and it was so. They would always go hang out up in that treehouse, and then there was a couple neighbor girls, you know, and they were in that age where so they were like, "Hey, come here." So I'm like, "Oh, they're inviting me. They're inviting me to the treehouse." So I'm climbing up there, and they got this girl. She don't have her top on or anything. They're like, "Come here, feel these." I'm like, "No." I'm all scared. I'm like 8 or 9 years old. I'm like, I tore down the ladder, took off running. I was terrified. It was hilarious though. After I think back on it.
One of my stepbrothers did almost the exact same thing to me. He was a couple years older than Mike, so he was like 6 years older than me. But he had this girlfriend, You know, I was about that same age.
Yeah.
But I was acting like a big shot, like, yeah. You know?
I didn't. I was
She
scared.
runs over, she grabs me by the hand. She says, "Oh, you know what you're doing, do you?" I'm like, "Oh." She grabs me by the arm, starts dragging me towards the bedroom. I'm like, full on, got my brakes on, like, screaming, trying to get away from. Not that has anything to do with cereal.
Yeah.
Those are good morning memories.
Yeah, those are good kid memories. We'll have to save that for our
Let's have our child molesting show. These older girls tried to molest us. Usually I just got beat up by them, but, you know.
Oh, man. I every once in a while I'll see that girl in town once in a while.
Really? You still remember?
Yeah, I still remember.
That's why I don't remember that one at all. I don't remember her name. I have no idea who she is.
I was in love with her sister, though. Her sister was about my age, but man.
That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show. It's a little bit of a short episode tonight. That was our look back at breakfast cereals. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Bonzo, I thank you for spending some time with me.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
We're going to work on our next couple of episodes here soon. We'll get them out on the radio station so you guys will see what's coming up. But thank you all for spending some time with us. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. This is
Peace out.
Bonzo and Bon Lee Johnson signing out.